when people cope with life and it ends up in anxiety as a coping method, it becomes quite evident that something is going on, but oftentimes people haven't got it obvious enough for them to know what's going on. For example, anxiety can show itself outwardly, as in physical activity, spinning wheels, agitated, barking back, reactive, that sense of frustration that's there. And other times it's very inward, it's very personal, it's a very private world that people live with anxiety. While appearing on the outside that life is together, things are fine, I'm happy, even joking. And I've just recently dealt with a client who is constantly joking, just constantly happy and bubbly, yet deeply anxious on the inside. So it can show itself outwardly and inwardly. That is really about coping with something else that's going on. And the coping part of it is, I find, often to do with the fact that a person doesn't have a sense of impact that they have in their life. They don't sense that they're valuable. They feel like they're being used or misused in different ways. They also feel like their anxiety state, when they're in that anxiety state, that they actually think that they can fulfill more of who they want to be when they're doing that, because they put themselves more forward as this is how I get things done, or if I get reactive and yell and get uptight about something, then people finally do something, they finally listen to me or whatever. How do you move from coping with the dynamics going on in a person's life using anxiety to conquering that? Well, I think you have to look at the causal issue. And one of the things that I use when I'm doing online work and through video conferencing, I find that my visual contact with the client actually reveals to me the inner turmoil that's going on as they try and justify why they're doing it on the outside. And so it's a more obvious sign as a counselor that I can see that it's harder for them to hide when certain questions are asked and they try and respond. So moving it from coping to conquering actually is about finding the cause, what's the dynamic that's going on inside their life, what are they wrestling with, who's in their life, who are they in competition with, who are they trying to get to impact as an individual. What are the types of frustrations that are most insidious and obvious to them? And once you start finding that out, I find that people the lights start coming on themselves, realizing that they're not this bad person that's got all this anxiety wrapped up inside them, or they're not this bad person because they're anxiously overwhelming or pushing other people or trying to manipulate somebody else. But it's really a reaction. Their anxiety is a reaction to some manipulation, some pressure on them, some ways in which they are having to counteract not being valued, and the anxiety is actually the reactive coping method that they use to handle the stresses in life that are coming their way. So it's really, I enjoy working with them to help them discover those realities. Then they can go to the cause of the issue, resolve the cause, and it just like almost automatically, almost without dealing with the anxiety stuff directly, that starts to resolve itself because the cause isn't there. It's just like somebody sitting on a thistle or a cactus. You know, you remove the cactus and you don't have to keep sitting there agitated anymore. So looking for the cause, which helps get rid of the anxiety, which gives a fuller way of living and helps to move from coping to concrete.